Hello, welcome to Office Hours with Amber. I'm Amber, and this is Office Hours. Well, rather, we're in the in between season. We're in like the filler episodes. Um, 2024, we had this beautiful, although 2025, we had this beautiful growth journey. In 2026, we're still figuring her out. We're still figuring out what the vibes are. Welcome to Office. Okay, audio's on, phone's away. So much to go over today. I just got back from Australia last night. New Zealand, Australasia. This episode is called Amber and Australasian. If you aren't familiar with what Australasia is, I didn't know that word existed either. Kind of that area of the world where Australia and New Zealand exist in harmony. We'll talk plenty about my travels, but it would be extremely disgusting for me to just go into, look at this beautiful vacation I had, while America has some pretty big elephants in the room, if you will. We've got so much to catch up on in the next hour. I might get furious to tears. I'm currently just so mad. I had a great vacation. Let's get that out of the way. Fantastic vacation. I'm rested. I'm happy. I have more energy and I am more so dedicated to exactly what I came here to do. Like, I am fully locked in, and like that is unwavering. But the whole time, and like, of course, we're going to get political for like 10-15 minutes because I don't know if you guys are aware, but hey Eric, I'm going to be mad for the first 15 and then we're going to get into my trip, I promise. But here's the thing. I'm going to be trying to say my piece without getting extremely furious, because as women and as non-political people, if you get furious, people think, oh, she's crazy. I'm not crazy. I am sometimes, but like in this regard, I have held my shit together for so long. And anyone who's been watching my Instagram has seen me speaking my piece. But if you guys were unaware, Office Hours with Amber was actually born out of my complete and utter fury after the 2024 election. I woke up at 4 a.m. on the election day and I was like, how in the absolute fuck hell did this happen? Now, maybe it's there's many things that came together that made that happen, but the Democratic side doesn't know how to market themselves well. The Republican side did what they did, okay? And so I woke up on 2024, that November 4th, 2024, and I was so furious. I blacked out for a week. I truly talked to no one. I wanted to see no one. And what I thought was, okay, what do I do with all of this fury in my heart? And it came from a place of my deep while I was traveling, of course, like, it's easy to be like, oh, just move. If you don't like it, just move. Here's the thing. If intelligent people like me keep leaving the country, there's more percentage of people who are not educated enough to fight on their own behalf for everyone. So even though I'm one person, I don't even want to say even though, each individual person is extremely important to this entire makeup of America. We need a good diversity of people and mixture and intelligence to be able to run the whole thing. I say that because the whole time I was traveling, I just kept having these conversations with all of these Australian and New Zealanders, and they were just like, oh, America, right? What a mess. And then I was just feeling this, like, I'm allowed to make fun of her, but you're not allowed to make fun of her. And just this deep pride for my country was just coming out of my skin. And I was like, yes, things are fucked up right now. Things are fucked up kind of a lot of the time, but whatever. She's my kid, like that's mine, And so because of my deep love and appreciation for people, globally, all of them, I said people, not Americans, people, and my deep disinterest and the lack of, okay, I'm going to backpedal. I'm getting angry. Okay. November 4th, 2024, woke up incredibly pissed. And I was like, what can I do to help more people in this day and age, in this time? And I'm not going to be the one that's on the front lines of the protest. I'm not useful there. I can't yell loud. I could get a megaphone, but I'm also not the most like articulate with every single point on every single political issue ever. Like, that's not where I fit. Where I fit is data literacy. And that is an extreme gap in America. So if you didn't know, Office Hours with Amber was born out of a place of empowering people to take control of data and being able to look into the data just a little closer, see when they're being manipulated by graphs, being manipulated by headlines, by stuff like that. Year one of Office Hours with Amber was very much kind of self-focused. How do I have to put on my own oxygen mask before I could put it on someone else. And so now I've up-leveled all my Excel skills. I've got lots there, and I worked on how to help myself develop and grow even in uncertain times, even when things are really busy. How can I then use all those skills to help more people do more with their lives? And that is what I'm set out to do. And like, that's kind of my entire like business mission, is help more people do more with less. Like, have more autonomy over an agency over their day, over what they do, over who controls them. All of these things, when you start noticing how data is used against you, that's where I come in to show you. You have complete autonomy over every choice you make. Now, yes, there are some choices that are extremely difficult to make, but Office Hours with Amber was focused, and like, if we look at it, every week it says empower, innovate, connect, data literacy, and analytics. That's been in front of our face for the last year. Still completely true. I am very dedicated to empowering people to live the life they want to live, be educated in what they want to be educated in, and not feel trapped by whatever you see on the news. We have so much news, so much fake news, so much misleading news, and it is not your fault if you have been misled in the past. Not your fault. Here's the thing. And that's what I want this whole message to be kind of about, is like, at this point, I don't care who you voted for. That was a year and a half ago. You can't go back and change that. What you can do is you can educate yourself on both sides. Here's the thing. I know both sides are lying about something, I admit. But that's the thing. I stay educated in both sides to make sure that I feel as though I am aligning with the side that more so aligns with how I view things. And so what happened over... the first thing, Office Hours with Amber was founded around how fucked this political landscape is, and how much I was so mad that so many of my friends and family and community members have been misled so extremely. So that I'm like, what can I do? I can be a voice of reason, or at least not even voice of reason, voice of the process to getting to your own reasoning, and not letting more people take advantage of you and your lack of data literacy and your lack of critical thinking skills. That is what this is about. So, and I am just going to eventually I'm going to get to the point, but whatever, we're going to get it all out. So that is what Office Hours with Amber was founded on. Now, here's the thing. In the last 3 weeks, as soon as I left America to go off on my travels, many extremely horrific things have been happening in America for months. But two of the most like groundbreaking national news things was Renee Good and Alex Peretti in Minnesota. And I hate that it took two white people, one being a white man veteran, to be shot in the street, for people to start caring that ICE is extremely dangerous. I'm not here to tell you what side to be on. I'm just here to say there's some extremely concerning things that were happening when I was gone. There's so much extremely concerning things. I'm just glad that there's more people that are starting to kind of be aware of just how mess this has all gotten to. And so I'm just so furious. So a few key points I want to point out is there's some people that are kind of, I'm trying to stay aware of all the different angles, because here's the thing, propaganda works both ways. And the thing about propaganda is that that's its intention, is to mislead you and like escalate things. And I'm not here to make you more mad. I'm here to make you aware of what the current situation is. And I hope the goal of me saying this is so that you have a conversation with your friends and family. Like, hey, that's not normal, right? And everyone says, that's not normal. And then they go tell their friends, that's not normal. This is not normal. We should not be shot in the street for trying to get away from a protest. We should not be shot in the street for trying to help someone off the ground. Now, yes, you can say, well, from this angle, from this angle. Let me say this so fucking clearly. Don't give a shit. Here's the thing. when you see one full clip of someone being pushed to the ground, a gun taken out of their concealed carry, that is their Second Amendment right, and they are shot with it in the back, I don't give a fuck. Capital F-U-C-K. I don't give a fuck what you believe. Well, technically in this participle of this law, no, like truly, that is not how you respect a firearm. I even care about guns. Like, I think even gun owners respect weapons more than that. It truly was so fucking disgusting. Okay, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm fine. I'm backpedaling. Here's the thing. I want to make something very clear is there are, like, in terms of military versus police versus ICE. If you're unaware, military and police receive extremely, extremely more regimented training on how to respect firearms, de-escalate situations. Know that the people that you are arresting or interacting with have rights. Know how to recite those rights to them. They're like, truly, the respect for the law that military, like armed forces, police have, the respect they have for authority, the respect they have for the law, the respect they have for humans generally. ICE is not that. You are seeing clips of that. And now you might say, not all ICE. Guess what? If you are coward ass, mask in the street, concealing your identity, like the whole thing is so nasty. Okay, I'm backing up. I just want to say I deeply respect all of the armed forces, all of our community service members, the people that are out there fighting the good fight, respecting the law and the boundaries that we have put in place. This, like, such violent disrespect for law. Okay. This is the part of politics that I so hate. And here I was having a good conversation with my mom yesterday, and she was saying, like, everyone is feeling equally just tired of talking about politics. And here's the thing, me too. But because I am 30, flirty and thriving, I have got enough energy to keep fucking talking. So here's the thing. So I don't go to bed thinking, wow, I can't wait to talk about politics tomorrow. Unfortunately, babes, this is our problem now. So we have to talk about it. And I wish I didn't have to talk about it, but because I need everyone to understand how furious, like, the whole entire time I was in Australia, I was checking the news, just trying to stay up to date on, like, everything going on. Now, yeah, that was a little destructive to my time, but it is our responsibility to stay up to date, read the facts on the internet, the facts from both sides, try to stay impartial. But right now it's leaning pretty far. Anyways, I was seeing some posts that were saying, like, oh, it's propaganda and la, 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 la. Okay. And then they were pointing to these little minute details of, oh, well, Liam Ramos' didn't, hey, Ashley, sorry, you're catching me in the middle of a rant. Talking about this, then we're talking about my travels. The people who are taking the time to discuss the verbiage of Liam Ramos, the little boy that was detained with his father, they said he was abandoned. The dad was running for his life away from ICE. So yeah, I think trying to get away from the people who are negotiating the tiny details are so focused in legality, they cannot see the morality of the issue. And that's fundamentally why I'm so fucking mad. It's like, why did he have to run? Because he was being chased for his life. People are... Anyways, okay, I'm fine. I'm tired of people making excuses and nitpicking. Well, it wasn't like that. It wasn't rape. It was assault. Here's the thing. People are being attacked. Okay. Backing up. If it's propaganda, okay, let's imagine this is all propaganda. Let's say I'm wrong. At the end of the day, I was fighting for the betterment of people. If you're wrong, that's genocide, stupid fucking idiots. That's the shit that gets me fucked up. Like, okay, I'm okay with being wrong. My pride and my ego has no problem being wrong. And here's the thing. I love to stay up to date. And the thing is, I was even trying to stay up to date on the Alex Peretti situation. And he in the past had been been in the middle of a lot of ICE situations before. And so I'm staying up to date on that. But the video itself, you took a gun off of someone who was recording. Okay. I am not here to be the news. There's so much news. I love Philip DeFranco. He does a great job covering both sides, trying to be as non-biased as possible. He leans left, it seems, but he opens the door for conversation and will also bring comments in from the community. He talks about it at length. He has a lot of great researchers. I love him. That's where I get a lot of my news from. I am off the soapbox. I'm just had to bring that up before I get into my fun travels, because it's just so fucking irresponsible of me to be like, I have all this privilege. Living in Michigan, arguably fantastic state. Gretchen Whitney, she's doing awesome. Hey, Liana, sorry. This is a really tough beginning to the episode. But anyways, I am privileged that I am, I would say, a median income earner in the state of Michigan. My bodily autonomy rights are protected. I'm doing just fine here. But it is irresponsible and disrespectful of me to not speak on the behalf of people who cannot speak for themselves, have more at risk. I've got me and Banjo, and he's asleep, but we're not going to bug him. But I have nothing to lose, so I am using my voice. Okay, even though it's just our small little community, it's important because I want you guys to feel empowered to then go talk to your friends and family and not feel like you're crazy. And I think the other thing is, as hyper intelligent women, and Eric, oftentimes we feel like if we don't have all of the facts and every single nuanced take of everything, that we can't have a conversation. Here's the thing. You can. Have it ugly, have it bad, learn something from both sides, whatever, Google some stuff, educate yourself. I digress. Okay, the last thing I wanted to say about that is, additionally, it is a rough time in America right now, but oh yes, it also was Banjo's birthday. He turned 4 on the 22nd, the 16th. Sorry, Banjo. Wait, the 16th. He was born on the 16th. It's on a picture back there. Okay, I digress. Now, uplifting ish. There's no harm, and I don't want to come across saying if you voted for Trump, you're the worst. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you could have voted for him. You could have not voted at all. It doesn't matter how you voted. That was a year and a half ago. You get to choose how educated you stay in this current moment, how many conversations you have, who you support. But it is up to you. You get to choose. And I don't want to make this huge condemning thing of how dare you support him and how dare this. Guess what? There are, if you do happen to watch, like, for instance, I just want everyone to see this clip. Okay, there's a few clips. We're just gonna watch one clip, and this is what concerns me, is the change up, if you will. Okay, here we go.
Certainly shouldn't have been carrying a gun, but hey look, bottom line, everybody in this room, we view that as a very unfortunate incident.
And in this clip, the full clip, he is saying, like, it is unfortunate. Gun violence isn't okay. Like, that's the thing. The full clip, I get it. But
everyone, unless you're a stupid person, very, very unfortunate incident. I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
Second Amendment will always be safe with me as your president.
Second Amendment is under siege. Our Constitution is being run through the shredder.
The only thing standing...
This is from, I believe, 2024, by the way. Or 2020. I'd have to go back and look.
Between you and the obliteration of your under siege Second Amendment is me. I'm the only thing. Anybody else... You wouldn't have your guns right now.
You can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You just can't.
I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment. I have been from the beginning. I protected it.
We have to have a Second Amendment that's meaningful. If we don't, we're going to have levels of death and destruction like this country has never seen before.
You can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You just can't.
Okay, I think you guys get the gist. There are hundreds of videos just like this that, the thing, people who voted for him, and I don't think it's this community that's watching right now, but the people that voted for him You were sold lies. And that sucks. We have all been lied to in the past, and it sucks every time. But when you get lied to, do you keep believing the person who lies to you? Or do you learn and start making different choices? This is where I am here to empower you, to empower your friends, your family, have the hard conversations of, and open the door calmly. Don't say, oh, you voted for Trump, how, fuck you, you know? Like, hey, why did you, like, having the conversation of, why'd you vote for him? Like, what did you like about his policies? Are you seeing those come to the fruition? Question it, but in a calm way that doesn't make them feel stupid. Because here's the thing, they already probably feel a little silly. And it is not our job to make people feel stupid. That is not what Officers of the Ember is about. It's to calmly, warmly invite them in to talk about their position, but keep them in a calm place. Because when you start riling up Trump supporters, they just start saying, well, prove it. And that's not productive. Ask them leading questions. Get them to pull it out. Because there was a guy that I saw at a bar that was wearing like pro-Trump shirt. I was like, tell me why you think that shirt's funny. He had no answer. And I was like, okay, is it because you think your friends think it's funny? And then he'd be like, well, yeah. And I go, have you talked to your friends why it's funny? And then they will fold like a lawn chair, but it's important to start probing, like, where does it come from? Similarly, in those conversations, that's when I start realizing, oh, you fundamentally don't think that black and brown and women and people that don't look like you are not human, that they don't deserve the same things as you. There's some people that also don't know what due process means. And unfortunately, I am okay with educating people I talk to and having the uncomfortable conversation. So anyways, I digress. What I'm saying is, right now, it is a very dismal time in America and it's very divisive. But you want to know what doesn't help with that? Calling people stupid or completely shutting people out because of that. Now, is it our responsibility to educate every single person? No. If I'm on Facebook and I'm interacting with people and they are like pro-Trump, I delete them because I can't invade my peace with that. But if there's real humans really in front of me, really talk to me heart to heart, I have been trying to have more conversations and opening the door for that, because you know what's going to warm them up faster? Honey, not vinegar. Is that what it is? But anyways, okay, I digress. The last thing I'm going to say is, it is disrespectful to everyone who was a slave, who was in the concentration camps. Like, it is disrespectful to them to have less hope now than they had then. Truly, think about it. If you, like, people escaped slavery and lived, it is disrespectful to our mamas, our grandmamas, our great grandmamas that never could have a credit card without a man's approval or being married to them. How disrespectful would it be for me to sit here and go, oh, it's hopeless, there's nothing we could do? Bitch, what? Like, it feels dismal. I'm not saying it feels great right now, but it truly is. It is irresponsible and disgusting of me to have less hope than those people had back then. We have the most access to resources. We have the most access to information. We have the most we've ever had. The most autonomy technically we've ever had, maybe a little less than the first few years. But in these times of growth, we have to continue having these conversations, and it's uncomfy and we don't like it. And I don't even love doing this here, but I digress. That is the end of my political rant today. Let's talk about Australia. Okay. Anyways, so for those of you that didn't know, I went on we are officially done talking about politics. I just felt like that was on my heart for a while. And I've just been like, the fact that I didn't cry through that, so exciting, because I've been just furiously crying for the last 2 weeks about it. Anyways, okay. So, cool thing is, I'm going to pull up the map. Sydney, Australia. Okay. So, the great place of Australia. I'd spent a week and a half in Australia, or 2 weeks in Australia, and then a week, like a little bit of a week in New Zealand. But I flew from Detroit into Sydney, Detroit, LA, Sydney. And I spent a day in Sydney before heading to the Gold Coast. But when I got to Sydney, and these pictures are varying levels of cute and not cute, but just so fun. We walked headfirst into Wooloo Mooloo, Wooloo Mooloo, and it reminded me of Kalamazoo, so I took a picture of it. But yeah, so many harbors. Also, Burger King in Australia is called Hungry Jack's. Fun fact. The cool thing about their coffee situation is I originally planned this trip to go to Australia to see my friend Colette. She was turning 30 a year and a half ago. She's like, hey, I'm having a 30th birthday party. You should come. So my taxes came back beautifully last year. So I used that money to fund this trip. And I thought I would be like a millionaire by now. And so I got to the trip and I was like, I have $3 left. But a fun fact about Australia is she used to always say, and if you saw the thumbnail, she's the girl on the right. In Australia, she was talking about, oh, the coffee's so good. And I can't describe how good it is. I don't have much of a taste, but something extremely important to know is in America, if I get coffee from somewhere, it's either dirt or dessert every time. Sometimes it's in the middle, but like most of the time it's one of those two things. Every single coffee I had while in Australia, immaculate, so good. Always perfectly in the middle of dirt and dessert. Like it never was like abrasive or anything. And additionally, I didn't have one single bathroom issue. As you guys know, I've got plenty of bathroom issues. One issue in Australia, I was like, that's when I put my tinfoil hat on. I was like, we're being poisoned in America because my stomach is so messed up while I'm here. But I digress. That was really encouraging because I was eating crazy stuff while I was there. But I digress. Okay. Coffee, delish. Went to the Sydney Opera House. Oh, we don't need the volume on. It was raining and it was 70s, which was totally fine. It was not 0. So God bless. But yeah, I just ran around. They had a whole lot of nothing. And then I went to the opera bar that was like underneath the, like you can see kind of like the opera house is right here. And then underneath it, there's all these cool bars. And so then I got delish food. So good. Oh man, it was like a hummus dip situation. Man, so good. But anyway, so it also, again, just dumping rain. You can't quite see it, but so fun. Anyways, so got all the way back to, let's see, what else did I do? Oh, also, these are cool knickknacks that they sell. Kangaroo balls that are bottle openers. That was quite a wild. But yeah, I ran around and just did this huge walk along the coastline. Let me see. Yeah. Like I got off the cool thing is when you're traveling, and maybe this is everywhere, I just didn't know, got off the airplane in Sydney. I got to drop my luggage at this like luggage storage place. You could just rent, like it's kind of like a parking lot for luggage. You just give it to them. $16 later, off you go. So then I didn't have to lug everything around, which was really great. And I feel like they must exist everywhere else. I just didn't know about them. But yeah, so I ran around, just walked around for a while, but then I flew out to Gold Coast later that day. So I really didn't do much there except for just sit and look. And honestly, most of my travels were just a lot of sitting and looking at stuff. And God bless, so good, because I think I haven't stopped moving for the last like 3 years. And so it was nice to just like sit and read. Speaking of which, I finished 2 books, technically. It was the tandem read in the Throne of Glass series. It was Empire of Storms. Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. I finished those. Wicked. But anyways, ran around, saw some stuff. I'll probably make like a little recap video, but I then went to a hostel so I went from Sydney to Gold Coast, which is off Brisbane. So I flew up here, and that is where I was at Surfer's Paradise. And it truly was Surfer's Paradise. I like didn't realize that the waves are quite kind of humongous. And so that was kind of fun. But I all up and down this coast, I was active. I got like 20,000 steps a day. So good. But yeah, Surfer's Paradise. I went to the wrong hostel first, made my way there, but it was one of those hostels that's like kind of like just this tube, like it was just kind of like a coffin. And then let me see if I can find a picture. Hostel Surfers Paradise. Yeah. Surfers Paradise, Gold Coast. Tequila Sunrise Hotels. Yeah. So inside of yeah. This is what it looked like. But there was 100. It was like a cute little area. Oh wait, where's the photo? But yeah, so you can kind of see, like, those were the little pods that I was in, and you had this little lockbox. That was quite the experience. But I would say for like an American's first hostel, it was very easy. Like it was actually kind of nice because there's like 100 people in this like shared thing. Like I think it would have been weirder if I had like a 4-person hostel room and then I had to like kind of get to know the people in there. Truly, I came and left and I just used it as a place to sleep. And the nice thing is that super clean showers, and they also had like cameras. So like if you left your suitcase out, like nobody was going to steal it. Everyone was very respectful, and like quiet hours were quiet hours. I only heard a few farts in the sleep that weren't mine. But the showers were super nice, and they had like bins full of like hair tools and scrunchies and hair clips and stuff that like were just, I didn't use any of those things, but I brought my own. But it was cool to see that they like had a lot of communal resources. I don't know. American's first hostel, great experience. But yeah, so did that, gallivanted the countryside. But yeah, I just read a lot, which was so fun. But yeah, so the beaches were also insane, which all of these are coming through like super grainy, but like just the edge of the world, you know? Truly crazy. I was going to be cute the first day, but then immediately axed those plans and decided to just look like a scrub. Totally fine with me. Had the most delish brekkie. So good. And then the beach was kind of like, it rained pretty much the whole time I was in Gold Coast. And the thing about Gold Coast is it's kind of like Florida, like very touristy, beachy, and it's also summertime in Australia. So I would say Sydney felt like a little Chicago. Gold Coast felt like Florida. Adelaide felt like Arizona, and then like New Zealand felt exactly like Michigan. But we'll get to New Zealand later. But anyways, I just gallivanted the countryside. So good. But it started to rain while I was on the beach, and I had all my tech equipment with me, like my camera, and I was like intending on doing more with that. I did, we'll get to that later. But again, coffee. The other cool thing is like, you know how if you're at a gas station, you can get like drip coffee or a diner drip coffee? Everywhere you went, you could get every kind of coffee, like cappuccino or like a latte or like other words that describe coffee that I don't have, because I just iced latte, please, with oat. That's it. Thank you. Additionally, their lagers, like I would say the diversity of beers in Australia was pretty limited. It was only like really light beers, but it's also summertime, so I get it. But all of their lagers, I could drink those all day long. There was no weird bitter aftertaste. Like it was truly so good. And then the other interesting thing is their chicken parmesan, their chicky parmy has ham on it. A concept. And it was like it's like chicken, ham, parmesan. Not the worst thing I've ever had. It was more of like, how'd you get there? You know, it's like, I think it'd be different if it was like bacon, but chicky parmy, pretty good. The other thing, I have to bring this up. Okay. Etiquette. They all have the same fork and knife etiquette. And maybe this is like a global thing and I just didn't know about it. And I keep questioning things. I'm like, am I dumb or whatever? So when I eat, my right hand is my dominant hand. Normally, foods in America are just simple enough. You can just cut it with the side of your fork. So I don't normally chop things up. So because I'm not using my knife all the time, usually if I need to knife something, swap hands, knife all the things up, swap hands, set this one down, eat my food. That's how I would do it. Now, every single person, Australia and New Zealand, and I know this is a minute detail, but I just saw it everywhere and I was like, am I weird? Everyone would put fork in left hand and it would be face down, knife in right hand, chop, 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 and they would just eat the whole meal two-handed. And when they wanted to put something on their food, like they would like fork something, and if there was something like a sauce or something, they would just use this to scoop it on top of this side of the fork, and then they'd eat it like that. Is that weird to say like that? I don't know, but everywhere, everyone was very delicately, like surgically doing all of their food, and I felt like an idiot because I kept swapping hands to. Anyways, that was a weird moment, but that was worth noting. The other big thing that I noticed is that the toilet water levels are different, and I saw this in London too, and I think it's probably good for like, water conservation or whatever. But water levels in Australian toilet versus America. Let's see if there's a picture of this. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So in America, the water line's way up here, whereas in Australia, or like literally, I think everywhere I've traveled, it's way down there. And the only reason I bring that up is as a girl with, yeah. Like you see how it's so low, whereas American toilets so high. And I did not see any snakes in the toilet, so don't worry about that. But anyways, I thought that was weird, and given my bathroom issues that I normally have, important to me. But the other thing is, at least in London, like when I went to Europe last year, there wasn't enough water pressure to assist with things that might be an issue if you don't have enough water in the toilet. You know what I mean? Little side biz. Whereas in Australia, every toilet had the correct amount of water pressure to make sure that thing was clean after. So that was kind of nice. It was weird. I don't know why we're still talking about this. Anyways, another cool thing. This is more of a New Zealand thing. Might have been in Australia, but I didn't touch the towel racks enough to know. In Europe, or rather in like London, England area, and in New Zealand, I saw they had heated towel racks in their bathrooms. Which I think is such a cool concept. I don't know how it doesn't burn your house down, but I'll look that up later. A lot of Australia, New Zealand, it was like very self-service. Like even at restaurants, it would be like go up to this counter. Even if it was like nice restaurants, it would be go up to the counter and then the food would come to you. Some places they took your order, but it was very few and far between. And obviously the no tipping, but the thing that they don't tell you. So I was in New Zealand with the Bobergs. Ella, Nick, love you so much. Thank you for having me. Also, thank you to Colette for housing me for a week, and her roommate, her friend who owns the house, Sagar. Also happy that I got to see Jimmy Wright, his wife, and Jimmy's sisters, Genevieve and Charlotte. So fun. But anyways, I got to see a lot of great people, and it was really fantastic. But where was I going with that? The tipping situation. So just because what I thought was going to happen was I was going to go there. I was going to pay my bill. There wasn't going to be a line for tipping. It would just like, okay, that's the end. Goodbye. And a lot of places, that's what it was like. But there are some places that still left the option to tip. And I think I have accidentally besmirched the country of Australia and New Zealand, because I was talking to the Bobergs and they're like, by tipping when you have the option, it's encouraging them to continue putting tipping things on there. And I'm sorry that I have accidentally encouraged that in your country. I didn't know it was like, just don't tip. And so I messed that up a few times because I was like, I don't know. They took advantage of me. I was weak. I was frail. I digress. Okay. The other thing is the exchange rate. Ooh, I love it. Now, everything was way more expensive on paper than I would have thought. But there were some things that I was like, in my mind, if I see the sticker price is $20 and I would have paid $20 for it in America, I was so thrilled. I would pay for something and then my like Apple wallet would pop up and be like, that was $15 or $10. And I'm like, yeah. So that was great. The exchange rate really was super cool. Okay. Fork and knife. Yes. Those are the little things. I'll wait to the pasta conversation till we get to the New Zealand part. But anyways, let's see if I've got any other good stuff. Couldn't describe to you what this is. I think it was a beef mince. They call it mince instead of ground, but mince pizza. Delish. I just sat there and I read all day long. I drank and I read and I drank and I read just all day. So funny. So then I went to dinner with the Wright family. We the next day then did a secret project that will be coming soon. I went up the next day. So I was staying down here near Surface Paradise, but to get to the H2O set. So let's go to YouTube, Ricky's Cafe, H2O. Here we go. Yeah,
I started
yeah.
a business.
Okay, here we go. If you guys don't know, my favorite show on like ever is, let me get this going first. Let me go to the right video. Sorry, pulling it up. Nice. Okay. It's pulled up. So to help you understand my love and deep appreciation for Australia, also, I'm wearing this shirt. Oh, that's not going to be any of help, but it says, and it's so bright. It says Australia Down Under, and it's got these little embroidered kangaroos on it. This is like what I imagine when people are tourists in America, they get like a USA shirt and it's like, bleh, you know, like this is the equivalent. But this also has a Australia, Great Southern Land, True Blue, and it's got this kangaroo on it, and I wore it. I got cold on the plane, so I bought a sweater, and it's got a huge kangaroo on the back. And I got to New Zealand, and they were like, gross. So sorry. It's a nice sweater though, so I'm gonna keep wearing it. But anyways, okay. So in 2005, 6, 7-ish range, I'm a 7th grader. YouTube had come out, and there was this show called H2O, Just Add Water, and if you see the thumbnail, the 3 girls in that photo are from that show. Well, and me, but like that background photo is from that. It is my favorite show of all time, and it's about these 3 girls that turn into mermaids or whatever. So, and they live in Australia. There, where I was in the Gold Coast, you could get to one of the filming locations, which is Ricky's Cafe. So I'm going to show you a little clip, and then I'll show you where it was. But the thing about this is, in 2007-ish, only 1 season had come out in America, and I don't think they even really publicly released the other seasons, to be honest. But on YouTube, someone in Australia had recorded it and put it on YouTube, and then I watched the remaining 4 or 5 seasons. This is back when YouTube was like 7-minute long clips, 7 minutes at a time for 4 seasons. And they were like, I think 20 episode seasons. So like I watched so much of that growing up on my little iPod Touch. Like, and I think even back then it would have been like just the computer. But anyway, so without further ado. So this little shack that you see here is a real like thing. And I want to see if they show the outside. Yeah. So like this, the outside is a real place, and it looks like this. So from this angle, like they're probably right here filming this way. And that's where I was. How cool is that? That's it. Like truly I got there, and like even on the side of the building, it says, yes, this is like the place where it was. So it's cute that they did a little nod to it. But around here, there's like a marina. Yeah, I think it was either 7 or 10-minute clips, and they didn't want to like make it 2 long ones and a short one. It's something like that. But they used to have time limits on YouTube videos. But yeah, so I got to this little area, and this is like the other side, like out in the yard section of it. But yeah, so I like took 2 trains, and I took a bus, and I basically got all the way there. And to be fair, like that show ended probably 15, almost 20 years ago. Like it's not like a huge historical landmark for lots. It's like, you know what I mean? And so I got all the way out there thinking, and it was also, I think, a Sunday or Monday. A lot of things are closed on Mondays. And so I got all the way out there, and then it was the equivalent of like a little neighborhood. So imagine you're an Australian and you come to America. You fly into like somewhere like Tampa. You go to Tampa, and then you go inland like an hour. Like you take all these buses and trains to get to this Walmart where one show was filmed 20 years ago. there's not a lot of attractions around it. So I ended up like kind of looking around. I'm like, huh, thought there'd be a restaurant or something. So I like walked a while nearby. Like I felt really silly when I did it, but like it was worth seeing while I was there. It like did tickle a little part of my heart. But like after that, I was like, well, now what do we do? And so I went and got some food and then Ubered, like took the buses and trains and Ubers and whatever all the way back. But here's where things got a little different. So, oh no, did it not load? Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh no. I hope the videos load. Let me refresh. So I was out. So there's a long, let's do this. Okay. So that was up near Hollywell, which is like up here somewhere. Hollywell. It was kind of like up in this area ish. Hollywell. That's where it was. So I was like right along in this area. And then I needed to make it all the way back down Schwa, which is quite a while. So I had them bring me back to Main Beach, which is right like in this area is Main Beach. Yeah, Main Beach is right here. So I was drinking around this area and I was on Main Beach, but my phone was about to die and I didn't know how to get to the bus. And so I walked from there, like here to Surfers Paradise Beach. Walking. That is not a 15-minute walk. I can assure you. Let's see. Or I'm completely full of crap. That is not Main Beach. Please hold. I'm being gaslit. There's the bar I was at. Okay, it was up here. Oh, it was here. Yes, okay. Let's do... There we go. Okay, I was about to have a panic. I was like, there's no way that was a 15-minute walk. Okay, so I'm up the hell here, and I need to get all the way to and I knew how to get back to the hostel from the beach because I like could recognize that area. So the problem is, I'm here, and I have to make it all the way there. So it's a 40-minute walk, and then it starts to downpour rain. And I don't know if you can hear it. Like, you can see the wind, but then it starts, like, crazy raining, and my phone's in, like, one of those, like, plastic bags.
Oh, my God. This is really something. Oh,
and it was, like, piercing rain, and it was also the sand was blowing, so I was getting sandblasted and soaking wet and piercing rain. A 40-minute walk... and all that. It doesn't even do it justice.
it hurts. Holy shit. Oh my God.
My towel was just a dress at that
Holy
point.
shit.
And then it was
Now
just
it's
wind.
just windy.
Oh. But it was such an extreme walk. But anyway, so I survived. Life went on. Let's see. Well, let's get to something interesting. Hung out with the Wright family. That was so fun. Made my way to Adelaide. did some frolicking with my girl Colette. And this is Henley Beach, right up against the coast in Adelaide. So pretty. Everyone just living their life. Happy. Just beautiful. Like, can you believe it? The other end of the world, like, which the nice thing is sunsets on the west coast of Australia. A dream. So cool. Just people living their life. Then we started interacting with, there was this place called Cleveland Zoo where you could just go feed kangaroos. And there was this one.
Look at that.
Huge. That thing, and there was the little, like, it was all open, like that. They could have approached us, but there's ropes to like make sure they had space to like not be bothered. But oh my God. So normal for everyone. But yeah, just little guys hanging out. And then yeah, you got to like feed them and stuff. Super normal. And then we had our little koala friends. Just teepee guys. Just teepee. And I think those are wallabies. Let me see. Wallabies. No, those aren't wallabies. Well, maybe they are. I don't really know. Yeah. Those were wallabies. They were so precious and cute. Look at the little guys. Yeah, so I got to feed a bunch of those. They were so cute, but they also would put their little hands and their tongues and creep me out a little bit. But all sorts of animals, little wallaby friend. And like you can see, I think you can see in one of these, look at his little hands. Oh, cute. Anyways, okay. Let's see if there's any other good stuff. But side note, I'm pretty cool. I held a whole python. So this is Hermione. This is Colette's family's python. And Colette's mom family, they do a lot of rescuing of animals, but this is one of their pets. And the thing about Hermione here is if I was a python and I was falling or being dropped, because she was slipping off my shirt a lot, so I was trying to like keep her kind of somewhere, because if I was falling, I would want to grab onto something to not fall. The only kind of thing she has to hold on with is the end of her tail, which would have been around my neck, or her mouth, which would have been around my face. But yeah, you can see her little face. She was super pleasant, but this is how I felt inside. I was like, same, Ashley. They were like, in the best way, they really knew, like, just put the snake on her. Like, they also had me in this bird cage with a bunch of like very tropical birds, like humongous parrots, and I am probably calling it the wrong thing, but they were like walking on my arm and I was feeding them things, and like I'm not an animal person, but I wanted to be respectful in their house because they were feeding me and like very nice. They're so fun. Her whole family was so fun. Too much for me. But yeah. So again, more beaches, so good. These were $5 press-on nails from Kmart of all places. So good. Again, bomb ass breakfast. Back to our wallaby friend. And then this was, oh yeah, no, birds. I don't mess with birds. I also don't mess with snakes. And that's where on this leg of the tour, I found out from the Bobergs, there are no snakes in New Zealand. Zero. None. And I was like, are you sure you didn't look everywhere? No snakes in New Zealand. Yeah, completely snake free. I found out that I love New Zealand. We're going to get there later. But yeah, speaking of snakes, and there's no critters that can kill you in New Zealand either. Huge news, guys. Okay, back on subject. So this was the week of Colette's birthday, and so she had a bunch of family and friends. No, they don't have, there's no huge spiders in New Zealand either. Like I was talking to them and they were saying like, nothing. Not like, New Zealand big spiders can kill you. Let's see. Like, I don't think they have any more dangerous spiders than like the spiders we have. Yeah, it's saying like a lot of the big spiders are not dangerous or venomous. And a lot of like, if you do get bit by any of them, like a lot of them are like shy, non-aggressive. And I'm like, So the contrast between Australia, where everything can kill you, and New Zealand, where nothing can kill you. Pretty cool. So I digress. So it was the week of her birthday, and so all of her friends and family were coming in for this big party. But we went to this winery that was, it just felt like it was on the edge of the world. Like, truly so fun. We just frolicked in the sunshine. Her friend Sharenya was there as well. So fun to get to know her and all of her friends. But like, you just truly feel like you're on the edge of the world, and it's so good. And then Metro wine later on the floor. We had such a good time. But it's just so silly to like, I can't describe, like, it truly felt like you were on top of the world. I don't know. Anyways, in the hills of Adelaide. Later that night, another cocktail, another rooftop. So fun. In the morning, we got Macca's. And they call it Macca's there. Macca's, Australia, New Zealand. And they had this thing called the El Maco. And like, it's truly like on signs and stuff. Most of the places had McDonald's too, but I digress. I got a McChicken. Oh yeah, what a beautiful angle of me. It tasted better than America, but it was still the same nostalgia. Let's see if I got anything else. Even when you went, so we went with her to like go get her hair done for her birthday, me and her boyfriend, they offered us lattes. And look, they're doing latte art at the hair salon. Are you kidding? Anyways, so later that day we went and we had the party, and I got this dress while I was there. So fun. And she looked like an angel. But yeah, so we partied, and for me to get to know everyone, she bought like a spritz package, like Aperol spritz package. Also, we're going past 8 p.m. So if you have things to do, thank you for coming. Nice seeing you. I've got still about 15 minutes of energy left in me. But anyways, so she had like 40 people coming in for this party. And so because she bought the spritz package, she was like, I want to make sure it's profitable. So I was like, how I introduced myself is, I'm Amber the American and I believe in capitalism. And then I would stamp everyone's hand every time they got a drink. And I was like, whoever has the most stamps at the end of the night gets a prize. The prize was just the friends you made along the way, but they didn't know that. And so I would go around and I'm like, hi, I'm Amber the American. Who are you? And I would get to know all of her friends and family while I was there, which worked out famously. I got that party fucking bumping. And she told me, I thought that the target for profitability was 4 drinks a person. It was 2. So I got everyone hyped, and everyone was chugging drinks at the beginning because they thought it was supposed to get 4 in 2 hours. Everyone was lit. And so I'm just saying, she got her money's worth. So anyways, so we had a good time. It was so fun. Her friends and family were so nice. And like, all of these people are also doctors. Like, it just like hilariously non-serious, serious people. Yeah, we partied and partied and partied, and for everyone, everyone's privacy, won't show too much of that because we were all drunk off of our face. Which, let's see. But yeah, that kind of rounded up that trip. We were all pretty hungover the next day. They flew out the day after that, and then I went to a hotel the last night I was in Australia to stay near the airport so I could get up and just go. But the thing about Best Western in America is it's I would say, generally pretty nice. It's a hotel. In Australia, Best Western is like a really shitty motel where, like, not shitty, it's just like, if that same place was in America, I would be very nervous about what kind of drugs were being sold next door. But it's Australia, so everything's a little nicer. But like, when everyone was saying, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to the Best Western, don't worry. And they're like, everyone was giving me the eyes like, you're going where? And I was like, Best Western. What? Like, and nobody wanted to tell me because I'd already booked it. So I figured that out the hard way. But yeah, okay, now we're headed to New Zealand. And I have to admit, of Australia, New Zealand, I thought I was going to like New Zealand. I thought I was going to like Australia more, but I now waved the New Zealand flag. It was the coolest place. I loved it so much. So thank you to Ella and Nick Boberg for entertaining me while I was there. I had the best time, especially because there are no snakes. The weather was immaculate. And maybe this is my own partialness, as like it reminded me so much of Michigan. Like we were driving in the countryside and it like all of the roads felt very similar. There was cows and farms and cornfields, and the weather was like mid 70s, 80, like barely. The beaches were so beautiful. It like felt like if you just swapped ocean with lakes, it would have been Michigan. Similarly, like Ella's parents live in a city that's like 6,000 people. I come from a place that's 10,000 people. They live in a place that's about 100,000 people. I live in a place that's 100,000 people. The big city is like a million or so people, or like a few million people. Like it just felt like everything, like she lived in, like they have cows. They have like full ass, also they have alpacas. I didn't see any, but I did get this in the gift shop. Oh, so cute. Look at this little guy. It's made out of like the alpaca fur. It's none of my business how they got it or how well the animals were treated, but it's very soft. So I got this at the little thing. But yeah, they have like it felt like the Midwest and the weather felt similar. But yes, and then I will say that if there was a place to move on the other end of the world, I would move to New Zealand in a heartbeat. If I could somehow sedate Banjo and get him there without eating other dogs or animals, and they had like also, yeah, anyways. And then I got this cute little kiwi, which I can't even like hold very properly. Kiwi. So I've got this little kiwi on my desk now to remind me of there is heaven on earth and it's in New Zealand. Also, I totally get why the Bobergs hike now. Like if I had that much terrain and beautiful things to look at, I would too. And Ella did get me to go on one little hike. So the funny thing is, okay, so I get into Auckland, I go and I drink quite a lot because they were busy that first night. So I went and drank a lot and I forgot to eat dinner. So the first time I'm having any stomach issues in 2 weeks, I thought I was invincible. Nope, still got IBS. In the morning, this is the hotel bath, like there's bathrooms in here. And I took a photo to remember this moment. I got in the car with Ella. And then I looked at her, I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Hop out of the car, go back in the hotel, go to the bathroom. Get back in the car. And I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And then I hop back out and there was nothing stopping me. Like it was truly life or death. I do that 5 more times. We get down the street, I go, you gotta go back, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I was so embarrassed. But it was a really good, nice moment with us. And I tell you this because you're gonna see the mountain I climbed, and then you're gonna be like, you did that while clenching cheeks. But anyway, so we go to this pharmacy, and I just wanna make sure everyone's aware that I am so easily swindled. We go to this pharmacy, and it's not like American pharmacies where like there's like an entry-level worker working the desk. Like it's all pharmacists that care a lot about their jobs. And I think they get paid on commission. Anyway, so we get in and I'm like, they don't have Pepto-Bismol here. So I have to then go, do you have an anti-diarrheal? And she's like, what? Do you have an anti-diarrheal medicine? And then she goes, oh, babes, you gotta just let that bacteria out. Like your body's trying to get rid of something. And I go, ma'am, I'm about to climb a mountain and I'm going to need it to end right now. So do you have any anti-diarrheal medication? I would love to just let it out, but I don't have access to bathrooms right now. So she's like, so she gave me Imodium. Fantastic. I wish I knew that word existed before I asked. But anyway, so then I go, she's like, but you need this, like take these pills for the next 30 days and you'll never have issues again. I'm like, whatever, throw it in the bag. And then she's like, oh, you're probably losing a lot of water too. So you need an electrolyte mix, like to make sure that your body's working. I was like, throw it in the bag. I need to go. I don't think you understand the level of severity of this situation. So 130 New Zealand dollars later, I left the pharmacy with enough medication to stop me up for the rest of my life. God bless. We're fine. Anyways, that being said, we then climb this giant hill and this is only halfway up. I find out that is I think she called a space needle or something. Let's see what she called it.
And then what's that pointy thing?
So we were on top of the world, which was nice. It was super cool once we got up this hill, and thankfully she didn't tell me that it wasn't a far walk. It was like 10 minutes just directly uphill. But then we took some cute pictures up there, so fun. And then she got me with this. I was trying to like do something with this, and then
Okay, to the left, up, down. Okay, close, down. Turn it around a little bit like it's an M. Yeah. Okay, down. Ooh, no.
she was fucking with me. But anyway, so got to see like a huge vantage point of New Zealand, which is so fun. They have a beautiful home. I'm not going to show any pictures or videos from there because I want to respect their privacy. But we had such a load of fun. And then we went to the pool, and I'm so sorry, Ella, if you see this. We went and did laps at the pool because she's training for a triathlon. So it was actually kind of fun to go get like go swimming and go like we did a lot of activity, like short but impactful activities that is like finally inspiring me. Okay, I want to get back into this. But anyway, so loads of fun. We did some goals assessments, and then we went to this place that has black sand beaches. But the funny thing about these she's also, if you didn't know, Ella is quite the craftsman when it comes to sandcastles. Like she builds the hell out of some sandcastles. Like they have like moats and tunnels and stuff. But the thing about a black sand beach is everyone looks like they're covered in mud, but it was sand. So it was super funny. The other thing, okay, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened. Okay, so in college in 2017, I was in this class called Operations Research, and we were tasked to make a business plan and make a fictional warehouse and build the warehouse and like how like where things needed to be and like how operationally that would all work and like design it and stuff. And so this is in 2017, and you can see there's a little trademark here. We had a business name called Mooger. When it got to like the end of the report, we were like, oh, we need a logo. So we went to Google, put Mooger. We're like, there's not gonna, like, maybe like a picture will come up, but someone already had this like logo made. So I was like, it's just a school project. We're not using this for real stuff. Who cares? I was in New Zealand, of all places, and what do I see in their fridge? Mooger exists on the other end of the world. 10 years later, it felt like, you see those pictures where you see like someone from current day and age in a photo from like the 1800s, and you're like, why does he look just like you? I truly was looking in her fridge and I'm like, is that Mooger? That project? And so I looked it up, and they only started like actually selling or distributing or getting big in 2024. So 2017, I was like Nostradamus of this New Zealand company on accident. That was the weirdest shit I've ever seen. But anyways, so such a fun trip. Lots of things. The last thing I have to say, the Bobergs and I got into quite the heated match about this. So if you search, that's so funny. Okay, so if you were to describe the flour extruded carbohydrate food, I would call that a noodle. So if we look at this, I would say noodle. Oh, types. Okay. That's so funny. I think I have been gaslit my whole life. Okay. So I didn't know the difference between pasta and noodles. I assumed pasta was the dish that included meat, like a protein, a cheese, a noodle, and that noodle was like one of the ingredients in a pasta dish. But I was talking to Ella and Nick, and Ella was like, what do you want for lunch? And I was like, any form of noodle. And she was like, okay. She was looking up all these Asian places, and I was like, why? Like, just any noodle. It doesn't have to be like Asian noodles. And she was like, oh, so you mean pasta? And I go, yeah, I guess. But like, and that's when I was like, but like it's noodle, like it's just noodle. She's like, no, that's pasta. So apparently in most of the world, I'm probably the only one that's wrong about this, but most of the world determined that pasta is Italian style noodles. Well, they would say pasta is pasta, mostly Italian, and that noodles are an Asian thing, like an Asian, like noodles are like, okay, noodles versus pasta. This shook me to my core. So apparently, like noodles are only designated for like Asian type dishes. And yeah, I'm still trying to create vocabulary around that. But yeah, basically pasta and noodles differ. Well, the thing is, I would just say like there's egg noodles, there's flour noodles, there's chickpea noodles, like all of these are just noodles, like all of that bit is a noodle. But then they would say noodles come from Asian culture, whereas pasta come from, like, it depends on like the thickness of the of the pasta. I can't keep calling it noodles, but that shook me to my core and I'm still mad about it. But I'm going to educate myself because as we talked about at the beginning, you're allowed to be wrong, but you must educate yourself further. But like, I think yeah, like rice noodles versus you wouldn't call it rice pasta. But anyways, I digress. We've talked quite a bit about that. Anyways, so while I was gone, I was supposed to be resting hard enough to completely come up, like do a lot of like video editing and creative stuff. I read a lot and I did not have much time for anything else. And that's okay. And I'm giving myself grace on that. But I did also read this book. It called to me in the airport, Ikigai, because I've been kind of researching the topic a little bit more, and that's the connection of what you love, what the world needs, what you could be paid for, and what you're good at. And there was some cool bits in here, and I highlighted quite a bit. But there was a few things that I wanted to bring up from it, and we might talk about this in a little bit. But they were talking about the idea of anti-fragility. So for things that are okay, I want to read this point blank. So we use the word fragile to describe people, things, and organizations that are weakened when harmed. The words robust and resilient are for things that are able to withstand harm without weakening, but we don't have a word for something that gets stronger when harmed. And I thought that was such an interesting idea. So they talk about anti-fragility, basically saying when harmed, you get better, or you're building for, it's not just resilience, it's actually the growth through harm, or like the growth through setback or whatever. And so that's where there's an interesting, I like the idea. It's like going a step beyond resilient, because that, I think that we are in a place of like every bad thing that happens to me, I alchemize into something even greater, and I use it to learn something about myself and grow further. And so it's a weird state of like, actually a lot of what I've been working on for the last few years is like anti-fragility. It's like, how do we create a system to utilize all of the good and the bad to be able to grow for the future, not just withstand the bad things that happen. So I thought that was an interesting concept. They talk about wabi sabi, which I love. There was a few other things that I thought were cool. They also talk about how to get into a flow state, which I put in the Discord, but it was talking about, they also interviewed like a bunch of like very old people, like the world's oldest people, and like or like I think they call them centurions, like people who lived past 100, and a lot of them, like, their words of like how to live a long happy life, and they're like, smile and don't worry about it. It's like, it's a nice book to read at this specific moment in life, especially when I could feel that the motors were trying to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. There's other cool things, and I wish I came a little bit more prepared. I do like that it says the happiest people are not the ones who achieve the most, it's the ones who spend the most time that spend more time than others in a state of flow. And I would describe that as like kind of like when I'm so locked in to like what I'm doing, and like when I'm like cleaning a data set, even though it's not my like, oh my God, favorite thing to do, it's like a flow state where I'm just steady inside of it. But there's one page where, oh yeah. Okay. 7 conditions for achieving flow. So basically it's knowing what to do, how to do it, knowing how well you're doing, knowing where to go, like what's next, perceiving significant challenges, perceiving significant skills, and being just free of distractions, which I think is cool. It's the perception of a significant challenge and the perception of having significant skills. And I think it's interesting how much perception can play into how much we actually can get into something or not. And so, for instance, it talks about like if you perceive the challenge as so far greater than your skill level, you might give up more easily. And so actually when this was very important to read in the middle of doing my goal setting for, or like my experiment and goal setting for 2026, because I think a lot of times, sometimes we'll outkick our coverage and try to attack a skill that is so far beyond our skill level or so far below our skill level that it's not adequately challenging enough, we'll get bored, or it's too challenging and you give up. And so it's interesting to like right size the perception of significant skill and perception of significant challenge. I also like the knowing what to do, how to do it, how well you're doing. How well you're doing is an interesting thing, and being able to like, it's kind of like the internal feedback loop. If I was to just, for instance, if I was working out all the time and eating well and I had no scale to say whether it's towards the objective or not, I would get discouraged halfway through thinking I'm not achieving anything. So like, I don't know. It's cool that there was someone who like listed it all the way out. And I think I'm going to be infusing that into the middle of like Ikigai and a lot of the things from this book. I think I'm going to fuse into my upcoming series. So anyways, let's see if I have anything. There's a few other things I think I found in here. Talk about that later. But anyway, so all that being said, one of the things that I already have an edition, and I think I talked about this a little before, but next week will be the beginning, ugly or not, will be the beginning of the next chapter of Officers of the Amber. And so this year I will be doing engineering improv, where we use improv to improve. So cute, right? So essentially, and there's a lot of different color schemes that I'm working through. So I don't know like what I'm going to land on yet, but I'm really excited about engineering improv. And the reason that it's like this is essentially there's a lot of little things, but very impactful little things for my business that I want to instill this year. And so one thing that prevents me from doing a lot of them is the perception that it's this huge task. And instead of just breaking it down into teeny tiny parts, I oftentimes will just avoid it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take at least 52 tasks, put them in a jar, estimated if it's not something that's accomplishable in an hour, it'll be something that you could at least start for an hour. At the beginning of every Monday, I'm going to pull something out of the jar, and that's what I'm going to do for that hour. Now that makes it maybe less interesting to a viewer that's only tuning in for certain things. Like if you tune in for the Power Query month, and like, you know, last year it was easy to say like, oh, Python, I'm excited about Python month, I'm going to go watch. This is a self-indulgent growth strategy to create a system for decreasing fear, because my original equation for change is value, accountability, novelty, capacity. So the thing about my original equation for growth was value, accountability, novelty, capacity. And I think that still is true. But one thing that's missing is that is divided by fear. So I think all of those efforts, these are all the positive things that can really impact your Not what I meant to do. The quickest thing to detract my ability to grow is fear. So that could look like perfectionism. It could look like fear of failure. It could look like just fear of the thing itself, like fear of being bad at it. And so with that in mind in this equation, I'm going, the easiest thing to combat fear is to not have time to stew on it. It's just like, it's in the jar. You pull it out. I've got now a timer, 60 minutes on the clock. Do your best. Then there's no perfectionism. Then I can always have the out to say, hey, I had 60 minutes. I did my best. And then the nice thing about that is it also shows, it'll kind of create like it's kind of fun. This is like a new way of testing, gamifying this. I'm not much of a, like in the novelty traditionally, I'm a shapeshifter. So like to get myself to push forward each week, I pretend like I'm a TV show producer and I turn on my camera and I'm now content for an hour, even though I am technically as content learning things normally. So I shapeshift out of me being some lame person in her house learning by herself. Now I am a live stream host, which is hilarious and so made up. But then again, guess what? All of life is made up. Anyway, so because everything's made up, and I want to show other people that you can make up the rules to your own game. This idea of the improv did come from Emily Williams. Shout out. Love her so much. Her idea with like the randomized bingo cards that she uses for her skills or for her goals. I finally have regulated my nervous system far enough that I can finally use this kind of strategy. So I'm excited about that. I still have to pick out a bunch of things. I have at least, and I think as the year goes, there's going to be new things that are going to be unlocked. So like if I start collecting data, then I could put a new task in the bin of analyze the data you collected or do something with that or restructure or like analyze this to improve that. And so I think over time, I'm saying it out loud now. I don't need to have 52 things in a jar to be able to start next week. So next week I will be starting with engineering improv, and I want to make like a fun intro that like is kind of like a little more rough around the edges than the like twinkly Officers of the Amber. But this is just season 2. Now, the other thing is I still intend to do Click Around and Find Out and technically Officers of the Amber. So really what it's becoming is this is like my primary, but there's still going to be other episodes. Like there's going to be other live streams that come out that are in the, like if I'm learning a new software or if I want to like investigate something someday, I'm still going to have the autonomy to do a Click Around and Find Out session. So there might be a mixture of different kinds of things. I don't know. I'm still figuring out. But all I can say is Taylor Swift said that she said that jet lag is a choice. It's going to be going against what I'm about to say, but she said jet lag is a choice. And I believe her because I have not been extreme. Like I didn't get jet lag going to Australia and I haven't gotten it back. Like I've been super fine now as I'm like losing the cognition to be able to like speak about this. But anyway, so ipso facto, we have had a great vacation. I'm happy to be back at my computer with all of my gadgets and things. So it's nice to have all my things back. Yeah. And a lot of cool stuff coming. I just gotta keep moving forward. Anyways, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, thank you for listening and hanging out. Next week is going to be even more interesting. There's a link in the bio if you'd like to join Officers of the Amber as well as the Discord. Let me know. That's about all I got today, though. I think I also have a list of things that I want to improve on the OBS, but I'm feeling empowered. And there's never a more important time to be empowered and inspired than right now, because I think it's infectious and I'd like to infect more people with feeling hopeful. So